I am joined as ever by Adam Holz of Plugged In. Hello, Adam.
How are you doing, Andy?
Do you know, I'm not too bad. My brain's a bit pudgy or like blue tack. I don't know what you call the
Yes.
stuff you stick things on the wall with. I don't know what the
Yep.
American version is. Would you have the same?
Yeah, we have it. I don't even know what it's called. I just, like gummy stuff.
Yeah, that one. That's how
Blue
my
tack
brain
is
thinks.
actually very descriptive. I don't think we call it that, but I don't know what we do call
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, we're not here to talk about stationery for office supplies. We are here to talk about all sorts of reviews. Now, last week, I really, really enjoyed the chat because we didn't go off on one.
Yeah.
We actually went into the real heart and passion and motivation, the story, the history behind exactly why Plugged In
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah. We had a great conversation and we've got some things to talk about this week, but I thought we could maybe even do a follow-up on that. And
Ooh,
um, I think that oftentimes with what we do at Plugged In, we're wanting to give you the information a lot of times so that you can stay away from something, right? Because there's so much stuff out there that we need to approach with caution or maybe we just say, you know what, that's not for us for whatever reason. And I think the flip side is with our kids as we are teaching them to discern, as we're hopefully equipping them to be able to say no themselves when they're on their own and they encounter an option that ultimately is not going to be redemptive for them. Um, we also want to look for places where we are saying yes to things. And I don't mean just like watching a movie, but um, really, as your kids move through their teen years, giving them more freedom and then asking them the question, what are you interested in today? What has your uh, you know, is grabbing your attention? And then even a step further than that is looking for ways that we can enter into our kids' entertainment experiences and have a shared experience together. Because I think that builds relational capital, it builds connection. And I'll give you an example, and it may be one that you're going to say, wow, I'm not sure that is exactly what I was expecting. But my son is a big fan of the emo band My Chemical Romance, who peaked about 20 years ago. And we just got back from a weekend in Los Angeles where we saw them twice, not just once, but twice, Saturday and Sunday nights at Dodger Stadium. Now, their biggest album, The Black Parade, is a concept album about death. It's about somebody dying of cancer and trying to come to terms with the reality of death. It's very emo, right? There's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of drama, and holy cow, there are a lot of people wearing black and things that look like they just got out of a vampire convention, right? I felt every inch the dad that I am at the age of 54. Um, but their music certainly has all kinds of problems. This is not pure as the driven snow by any means. But I tell you what, we had a great weekend. And I think being able to enter into something that he cares about deeply, being able to talk about, all of the other music things he's interested in, I think it creates a shared experience. And again, he's 19. You might not do that with somebody who's 8 or 9 or 10, but where are your kids? Where do they have interests that you could say, okay, this may not be my cup of tea, and it may even have some problems that we need to talk about, but I want to have that shared experience with them and build that relationship.
it's interesting though, isn't it? Because when we first have children, we raise them, we give them food, and eventually they start to
Yeah.
sit up and play and crawl. Then they start to play with things like building towers or whatever,
Yeah.
and we try and get them interested in stuff that we can help them with. But of course, as they get older, they if we've done our job correctly, they're going to develop their own interest, which is a really
Absolutely.
good thing. And
Yep.
spoiler alert, there's a good chance they won't be interested in everything that you are interested in as a
Yeah.
parent, at which point
That's
you have
right.
a choice. No, that's
Yeah.
terrible, rubbish, boring, sounds stupid, just noise,
Right.
or engage and find, okay, so why is that something you're passionate about? And actually
Yeah.
creates an opportunity for conversation.
Yeah, and even potentially a shared experience depending on what it is. If it's a movie, if it's a video game, I think especially if you have boys, stepping into the video game realm with them can be an incredible opportunity to build a shared set of experiences with them. even if gaming is not necessarily your cup of tea, and maybe it's reading books together. Maybe it's going to their favorite band's concert. My son and I have now been to, oh, it's a lot. It's a big number, probably 60 or 70 concerts together. And I am his first choice concert buddy. Like, he would rather have me fly in to go to a concert with him than go with almost anybody else. Now you could say, all right, is that healthy? I don't know. I mean, we could kick that around, but I love that at the age of 19, he still wants me in his life, and he wants to share those experiences with me. So anyway, I think that that's an important thing. Whatever that looks like for you and your family, where can you build those shared experiences? Because there are still times you need to say no, right? It's like, yeah, I think we need to say no to that. But it's a lot easier to say no if you can say, but here's all these other things that we have done together in places that we're sharing an experience together. So it's not just about mom and dad always saying no, 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 that's rubbish. If that's all we ever say, our kids are going to get numb to a certain extent. And so, anyway, thought I would share that today.
But it's really interesting though, because I don't know if I've shared this one before, maybe I have, but before we had children, we had a massive collection of not just Disney, but that was kind of all it was, 20 years ago. We had a massive collection of cartoons and family fun films, and people would come around and say, "Oh, how many kids have you got?" Well, none. We just enjoy watching these. So when our kids came along, it wasn't like we had to go out and buy a bunch of Disney stuff. Of course, you've got Pixar and all sorts now, but we had them, and we really enjoyed that. And as a family, we do enjoy switching off to a box set, or to a DVD or a franchise when we're going through Mission Impossibles at the moment on a Saturday night, because there's 75 million of those. So I'll be old and dead before we get to the end. But that's what
Tom
we're
Cruise
enjoying.
won't have aged a day.
No, he's as young as he was when he was 20. Unlike you and I, who probably have aged.
We've aged a couple of days.
Yeah, with maturity comes wisdom and something.
Yes, that's right.
But we have got stuff we enjoy. So as a family, we bought a Wii ages and ages ago, the Wii U.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we still have it. It's brilliant fun. We got some games in there we love. My wife, not a gamer. Okay, she's really not.
Yeah.
I'm not big gamer. I prefer computer games on my own. But we've got the Wii U, and we found some games that we can play together. Yeah. Really, really simple ones. Like there's a Mario chase thing. You run around a little maze, and that's it. And there's 5 of us can play, and we have an absolute blast. There's lots of laughter, and laughter is good.
Laughter is really good, and the Wii especially, I think, was designed with families in mind, and that's a good segue, actually. Nintendo just released their latest system, the Nintendo Switch 2, and you can hold it in your hands or you can connect it to a bigger screen. And they've just released, and we just reviewed their latest game, Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is, as you would expect, a Donkey Kong game. So, we got Mario, we got Donkey Kong. It's crazy that, that whole franchise has been around since like 1980. And it's nice to every now and then say, boy, it's fun to just have a game that we don't have a whole bunch of things to say, well, it would have been great if it weren't for this, 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 and this. It's just a big monkey having an adventure that you can have fun playing with your kids. And that would be an example of one of the most recent video games that we reviewed.
I mean, video games, you can love them, you can hate them. They've been around for an awful long time. I don't see them fading away. With AI,
No.
As it is, it's only going to get bigger and more involved. So it's one of those, you either say, no, it's wrong, it's terrible, which I know people have done with rock music. Oh, it's all evil. Well, no, all games are not evil. Actually, they're very good. We have a blast as a family sometimes to switch off. My son, before he does a live radio show, goes and plays a really silly little game. It's not exactly complicated. It's not going to develop his intelligence to be an astronaut or a rocket scientist, but it's good fun. And the good fun is really important.
Yeah. And, as much as we even blast something like social media, every now and then, and we don't do it super regularly, but it happened last night. My son and I are here, and my wife and daughters are traveling. We were both plopped down on the couch. It was the end of the day. He's been kind of under the weather. He was scrolling through his TikTok feed, and I was scrolling through my Instagram feed, and we'd, swap little videos. Oh, hey, look at this. This is hysterical. And I think that actually can be a great way to share a laugh together, to share experience together. just in a small kind of throwaway way, you know. Now, if I spend 45 minutes a day going through my feed on my own, at some point you have to say, this is probably just wasted time, right? You know, there is a stewardship component regardless of what we're looking at. But I think in terms of getting a sense of the kind of things that are showing up on his feed that are funny, because most of them are based on humor, you know, they're going for a laugh, and it can be really, really fun to just laugh together.
We like laughter. We like laughter a lot. And as we've commented, and you said the other week, be careful in films when there's laughter because it's an easy way to
Exactly.
sneak in something that we may prefer not to have endured, shall we say?
That is exactly right. That is exactly right.
I'm really enjoying these conversations. Sort of a little step removed, I guess, from
Yeah.
actual reviews. We just looked at a game, but I do enjoy what goes on behind the reason why we have these conversations. Why we,
Yeah.
as a radio station, we're passionate about purity in terms of music, and you don't want stuff that melts your eyes or burns your ears. You don't
Right.
need that. We don't want that. Some people might, but we're offering a choice for that, and that
Yep.
is exactly what Plugged In does, which is why we love working with you.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, each week we want to bring you the most relevant information. And I will say that we have a YouTube channel up this week, a review for a channel called The Johnson Brothers, which is just three guys that have a blast kind of telling stories and parodies. They're sort of like mini movies almost, but you know, both super low production quality, and yet as they've gotten bigger and gotten more followers, they have the ability to do more. And it's a good example of a channel that doesn't have too many problems. And again, if you've got especially young boys or younger boys, um, YouTube remains definitely one of their favorite destinations, although I think TikTok has eroded everything, including YouTube viewership. And so our review of the Johnson Brothers channel is one that you might want to check out because I think it could be one that it's relatively clean and it doesn't have too many issues that you're going to have to worry about navigating.
Here's one for you. I read this week that here in the UK, at least, the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Corporation,
Yep.
massive source. People basically go to the BBC for news. We know there are other suppliers, the Guardian, the Times, Telegraph, Independent, whatever, but the
Yeah.
BBC are the biggest, most commonly used source of news. And I read this week that YouTube is now number two for
Yep.
source of where people go, either to the BBC or number two, they go to
Yep.
YouTube, which I found fascinating because I would
Yeah.
never go to the YouTube for news ever. Would
No.
never cross my mind.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I am on YouTube a lot. It's the one place where I feel like I'm kind of in sync with the cultural zeitgeist, at least as far as my interests are concerned. And I totally get that. I love seeing people thinking about current issues and talking about them. And so it is a place that I go, not so much for news itself, but for reflections and conversation and thoughtful and sometimes not so thoughtful reactions to what's happening in the news. But certainly for kids today, you know, if they want to know something, they don't do a search on Google, they'll do a search on TikTok. You know, they treat TikTok almost like as the entirety of the online world. And sometimes with my daughters, especially, I'm like, okay, let's time out. Can we talk about the source of your information here? Because I'm not sure it's as good as you think it is. And so there's that balance, you know, how do you begin to give your kids freedom to make some of those decisions? How much do you put that on lockdown? And you say, our family's not going there. Different families are going to respond differently. Different kids are going to respond differently. I have three children. They all have different sensitivities, right? And so some things you have to just navigate with them individually. And the rules for one child may be different than the rules for another child because they're not wired the same way. But yeah, I mean, YouTube, TikTok, social media is the primary source of news for kids growing up today.
Which in itself is fascinating. And I could probably
It
talk about a
is.
lot of that for quite a lot. Right. How can people get hold of all the other stuff that we can enjoy from Plugged In?
You can come to pluggedin.com, and we didn't even get to movies this week, but you'll
No.
find reviews of Sketch, The Bad Guys, um, the new Naked Gun movie, you know, because we haven't had one of those since 1994. I guess it was time to revive that franchise. Pluggedin.com. You'll find reviews of those and so much more. And we are a ministry of Focus on the Family.
Adam, as ever, from Plugged In, thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you, Andy.
3 Point Pure? No bad language, nothing immoral, nothing illegal. Here at Pure 24/7 Radio, we make sure we're always 3 Point Pure. That means music without bad language and songs that don't promote anything illegal or immoral. If that sounds like something you enjoy, then support us financially so others can enjoy it too. Just head over to pure247radio.org/donate. That's pure247radio.org/donate and help us make the world a better place with our 3 Point Pure standards. Providing something for free costs somebody something, but doing nothing costs someone something too. So support us financially and let's walk together and brighten the lives of others. Everything we do at Pure 24/7 Radio is funded by your donations. Thank you.